All right, guys, we're back. It's John.
Hey, it's Paul.
And again, there's no Eric. You wouldn't know that, though, because this is going to be our secret evergreen episode. So we're hiding this one.
We will release it who knows when.
It's going into the vault.
It's a mystery.
We're better than Disney. Not quite. Because we keep dipping into that vault pretty fucking quick.
Right.
So, as always, what we try to do is we record our weekly episode and then we'll record another one like this one. So today is actually May 21st, but we don't know when we're going to release this. We decided we'll just kind of record a few so that we've had a few times where none of the three of us can get together. So we like to have a couple in the can just for those kind of times when I'm not just sitting in my garage by myself trying to talk to somebody.
Talking out loud to nobody. Yeah.
Because I will literally just pour myself a really stiff drink and run around the table to each microphone. Just because I'm an asshole.
I want to hear that episode.
This is going to be great. So, me and my personalities. So Paul and I decided tonight, just because of what we were talking about earlier, kind of rolled into some of the series finales that we remember from the past, and then kind of roll into the video game movies, because we were talking about like the end of the Game of Thrones, and then we talked about Detective Pikachu. So it naturally rolled into those two subjects, so we figured it would make a fun evergreen episode. So we're going to talk a little bit about some series finales, and then we'll roll into video game movies, which I think is going to be the bigger part of this episode. So for the series finales, I was just trying to think back to some good, some bad, some what the hell just happened,
Right.
And I came up with a handful of them, but the first one that I can remember that was funny, and I only watched a handful of episodes, so I heard about No, I take that back. I remember seeing the series finale only because I knew it was a very popular show, and I wanted to see how it ended. I didn't quite understand the reference at the time, but then watching primetime stuff and older shit, I kind of got it. Was Newhart.
Yeah.
Remember? So he had two shows. It was Newhart, and before that, it was
the Bob Newhart
show.
Yeah.
Right? And I forget who played his wife in the Bob Newhart show, but Newhart, I watched a handful of those episodes. And that was basically, he was at a hotel, right?
Suzanne Plachette played his wife on the Bob Newhart show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in Newhart itself, because that was just a sitcom about the two of them, whatever, right? Then you get to Newhart, and it's him, and I think, I vaguely remember, it's he owns, or he runs, or works at a hotel.
So,
I remember a few of the characters.
The Bob Newhart show, he was a psychiatrist.
Right.
In a big city. And the show revolves around he and his wife, and then he has a receptionist who's sort of wildish and out there. And then the different sort of patients in group therapy were sometimes funny.
Right.
And that was a show, I was a kid, and I kind of remember it being on. I kind of remember watching it. I don't remember all that much about it.
Yeah, same here.
Other than it's something my parents watched.
Yeah, and then Newhart
and
was
then
a little bit...
He's in New England, he buys a bed and breakfast, he's got a wife, and then there's the guys that started as bit players and end up becoming sort of a major part of the thing were... I'm Larry, this is my brother Daryl, and this is my other brother Daryl.
Right, yeah.
And one of them never spoke.
Yeah. That was the main thing that I remember from that show.
Yeah.
But, so they had this whole show revolving around him there. And then at the very end, the series finale, you watch whatever the hell the episode was, and then the only thing that really anybody recalls, because it was so amazing, was it kind of fades to black, and then it's quiet for a second, and then a bed lamp turns on, and he sits up in bed, and he's basically kind of what was that? And then the actress that played his wife in the Bob Newhart show is in bed next to him and rolls over and says, what just happened? And he's like, I had the craziest dream. So essentially they made Newhart, the entire series was a dream of Bob Newhart and the Bob Newhart show, which was funny as hell. Which now other shows have spoofed that idea and whatever, but
at the time, it was amazing. I remember that being amazing.
It was amazing, yeah. Because it also, one that just popped in my head, which I never really watched. I think maybe if I watched one episode of this show completely, because it's way back in the day and I was a kid, I'd be impressed. But it was St. Elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what happened in the series finale of that?
No.
There's, that's a medical drama, mm-hmm. right? So it pans back from the hospital and it's snowing. And as it pans back, the camera keeps panning back and the building is inside a snow globe in an autistic kid's room.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it makes it look like the entire series is just in this autistic kid's head.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's just one of those, like, I never saw the season finale or the series finale. I just remember reading about it and thinking that was really cool. I don't know how that affected people who liked the show, if they thought it was bullshit.
Right.
But to me, artistically, it's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
How about you? You got any really cool ones?
So one that I sort of remember, because I would have been 12 or 13 at the time, so I remember it being culturally a big deal, was the end of MASH, which at the time had run for 11-ish years, something like that. 11 or it was at its time the longest running sitcom. Yeah. And they had been through different characters. They had replaced the original Hawkeye, the original Trapper John with BJ Honeycutt. They had replaced the original sort of base commander. Radar ended up leaving at some point.
Yeah.
Klinger, right, starts dressing in drag to try to get a Section 8 and get out.
Yeah. And then we'll let him go.
And at the end, the only part I really remember is Hawkeye getting in the chopper, and when he pulls out to leave, goodbye was written in rocks on the landing thing. And I remember it being, I don't remember it having sort of the societal impact, but now having read about like what a big deal that was, and it was a sort of tear-jerking moment. And this was when everybody, you were watching that because there was 3 channels, and
you were watching that when it was on, because I think
correct
recording options had just started coming out, or it was right after that. Yeah, but either way, it was right on the cusp of the whole VHS, whatever.
Yeah.
So you were watching it, and I'm gonna misspeak here, so I'm only gonna kind of speak vaguely. There's one other thing about that show that I seem to recall, and I don't think it was actually the series finale, but it was one of those last episodes. There's an episode in there that's like people in articles have like kind of spoken about how great this episode was, but it has something to do with Hawkeye on a bus.
I think it's that one.
It's because it's one of the reasons why he kind of breaks down.
Yeah.
It revolves around like it talks about like a chicken, but what it turns out is the chicken is actually a baby.
Yeah.
So
they're on a bus and they're going through a really dangerous sort of part of the country.
Right. And they got to keep quiet.
They got to be quiet. And he sees it as a woman holding a chicken that won't stop clucking. And so he smothers it to shut it up to save everybody. And then you come to realize it was not a chicken, it was a baby.
It was a baby. Yeah, that's so screwed up.
Yeah.
So that series finales, that was a really good one. One that we both kind of talked about, and you had more of a problem than I did, was The Sopranos.
Yeah.
So the infamous fade to black.
Right.
Tony's at the diner with his family, hanging out, and his daughter comes walking in, and it makes it look like there's a guy at the counter.
And then sort of somebody else comes in, and you're not sure.
And you never know, kind of, because Tony looks up, but you don't quite see really what the look on his face is supposed to mean.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to black.
Yeah.
It's not even a fade to black. It just cuts to black.
Yeah. And they're playing "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have really any tie to the show or special meaning. Like it just seemed sort of random.
It was like, hey, what's Glee doing this week? Okay.
Right.
Let's throw this out here. So I mean, I don't know. You had voiced. Well, go ahead. I guess you.
Did you ever watch? And I'm going through a list of best and worst just to series finales just to jog my memory. Did you ever watch The Shield on FX?
Like 1 or 2 episodes
Okay.
at times. Yeah.
It's a show about this group of cops. They're
Tangent. We just completely dropped The Sopranos.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, go ahead. You had more to say about The Sopranos.
Yeah, no,
anyway.
all right,
You're
go back
like,
to Sopranos.
So The Shield.
Yeah, it was really good because that show. I don't think
I loved The Sopranos.
I
by
did
the
too.
way.
Yeah,
Loved it.
and I don't know that there were down moments or seasons where, and I know I'm several seasons behind on Game of Thrones, but I've seen the meme, and you and I were having this conversation that the last couple seasons feel rushed.
Yeah.
Like it should have been 8 or 10 episodes, and they did it in 8, and they could have used the extra time to kind of wrap some stuff up.
Right.
And
The Sopranos never felt like that.
Yeah, The Sopranos never had those moments, I don't think. And then so you get to this last episode, and there's a lot of storylines still out there to kind of wrap up in that show, and they just went out.
Yeah, and I know, like when I had said I didn't mind it so much, and you were like, "Oh, I did." So you had a bigger problem with it than I did, because I want to say not to be artsy fartsy about it, but I think I kind of understood what they were trying to go for. I don't think it worked at all. I mean, my opinion, you should have ended it differently, but I kind of get what they were going for, and I think they should have done it, but. At least I didn't have the problem that all of society, including you, had with it, because everybody was mad.
Yeah, I guess in some regards, there's no way to do this where everyone's going to be happy, right? You're either going to everybody ends sort of happily, and that's lame. Everybody dies, and you're sort of mad, or you do something like this where you don't know the ending, and everyone's left to sort of think about it on their own, and who might that have been, and what could then happen.
And when you do that right, it works really well. But if this is just one of those shows that was like, no, that doesn't work because you gotta, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess maybe people watched Goodfellas and The Godfather once many times.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, is that how this is supposed to end?
Right.
So I don't know. So all right. So back to The Shield. Sorry.
So Shield is a show about a group of sort of detective is not the right word. They're cops, but they're plainclothes. They're a special task force in this one precinct, and
it's Bail Organa and The Thing, right?
Yes.
You're welcome. There you go. Man, that's my one per show. Star Wars reference.
And the way they go about things, like they cut corners to bust criminals. They are not afraid to, rough somebody up, force a confession, do those things in the name of the greater good. And you can argue whether that's right or not. And then some really messed up stuff happens.
I can argue whether that's right or wrong.
Yeah.
He's talking to the guy who's ready to punch a coach on the field to defend his wife. But okay, sure.
They end up robbing some criminals, and they end up getting chased. Anyway, so a lot of bad stuff happens to all of them, including one guy, the head guy, who's like a real sort of head knocker and hard ass, ends up in a desk job. And it's like one guy's in jail, one guy's on the run, one guy dies, one guy commits suicide, and the last guy is left in what is arguably the worst punishment, which is like a totally boring desk job. And you're just like, well, that's kind of fitting.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's one of those that was definitely out there. Everybody was watching it at the time, but I didn't get into it. It's not to say I don't like cop shows. There's plenty of different random shows that I watch. It was just one of those. I think I had too much on my plate at the time, so I never got into it. So I guess I've been toying with the idea of looking back at some of these shows like that have complete series and picking one like that and just watching it. Like I had that time when Terrarium TV was popular. I was logged onto that. I was watching Sliders.
Oh yeah.
And I watched like the first full season of that, and then I just kind of got busy doing whatever, and I fell off it.
Right.
But it's one of those shows that I love, and I'd love to see them redo it again. We've talked about that time and again. I forget how that one ended, so I'll have to go back and watch that. But yeah, I've toyed around with the idea of picking shows because when you're in the military, you get that a lot. Like when you go on deployments or whatever, which is kind of how I found Sons of Anarchy and Game of Thrones and that kind of stuff. You find shows, something to watch in your free time,
right?
And you'll typically download a whole bunch of episodes or whatever. And if you have one that's like a complete series, it's cool. You know, okay, maybe I can time this out so I can watch it throughout the whole detachment or deployment or whatever. There was a few shows that I watched like that. A couple of them. One was the 4400. Yeah, and it was basically like one of those similar to Manifest Now or anywhere like people disappear and come back. That kind of shit.
Right.
It was very similar to what Manifest is today, but it just kind of ended. Like it got canceled.
Yeah.
It wasn't getting good ratings. But it was like 2, maybe 3 seasons, and me and a buddy of mine were watching it. We were all into it. And we went back to the person that had given us the DVDs, and we're like, you know, what else do you have? And she was like, no, that's it. It just got canceled.
Right.
I was like, son of a bitch, you know. So you get those, but there's a handful of random shows that you find like that too. We can do a whole, all 3 of us do a whole show about like random shows like that like you just found and got wrapped up into.
Yeah.
That would be a cool
That'd
show.
be cool.
That'd be fun. Because I got a bunch of them that I watched for no friggin' reason.
The Shield was one of the first, I think, that, and I need to see when year this came out, but it doesn't say. Anyway, it was on FX, and which was
there you go. That's a reference.
yeah, which is an interesting cable channel, and it didn't behave. It's one of the first shows that I remember that didn't behave the way all the other network shows did. So there's not 22 episodes in a season. It went on for a bunch of seasons, but it would be like 10 episodes, and then it would disappear for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then, but not the full time where network shows have the season finale,
Fall season,
and then it comes
right.
back in the spring, and then it comes back in the fall. It would be gone for like 6 or 8 months, and then it would come back with another 7 or 8, and then it'd be gone for like a year.
Yeah.
And then it would come back for a while and then go away for like 2 months and then come back. And so it was real.
Kind of like however they could fit in the shooting schedule.
Yeah. And based on what else they had and a bunch of other stuff. It was pre sort of streaming service and pre binging and all that stuff. But it'd be perfectly bingeable now.
Wasn't it like the first show to say shit on TV?
Probably one of them. Yeah.
Because I think it was The Shield, and then immediately, like that night, South Park cut that episode where they said shit.
It was
every 3
That
seconds.
was NYPD Blue.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm crossing my dramas.
But
Because
it
NYPD
was like,
Blue or was it The Shield? One of them had one where that one dude dropped trow and you saw nothing but man ass.
Yeah.
That was
Dennis. What's his name? Yeah.
Yeah. Dennis Franz.
No.
Yeah, no.
The other guy.
Sure.
Anyway. Some
it
guys,
doesn't matter.
Some guys
dude's
whose ass you don't want to see.
Yeah, you definitely do not want to see it.
And but yeah, and they said it was just kind of like, oh, that's some bullshit, or something. Like it wasn't like a huge. They didn't make it like a huge deal. But
for
the South Park
television, it became a big thing.
The South Park show about that is so much better.
Oh, it's so hilarious. And
the word of curse.
Yeah, because they were making fun of the fact that it became such a big thing in the media.
Yeah.
That, oh my God, the show was going to say it. The show was just like, bullshit.
Yeah.
And essentially, it was bullshit about bullshit. And South Park was like, oh, this is right in our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Watch this shit. Bang. And Cartman just loses his mind that show. It's so great. So, all right, so we went on a tangent to a tangent to a tangent. What other series finales you got that you remember? Because one that popped in my head was like Family Ties. Do you remember that one?
I remember the show.
Right.
I don't remember how it ended.
I guess Alex Keaton is going off to work in the city or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I guess he's been at college or whatever. So he's going to work off in the city or whatever. So he's leaving, And so it's basically, I think it wraps around like him. Because even what's Mallory's boyfriend Nick, right?
Yeah.
The rocker dude, the biker guy
who looks 40.
Yeah, who Alex pretty much can't stand most of the time, but then throughout the show, like they have their moments where they get along.
Yeah.
Like, they have their one moment real quick that, shows that he really does care. They both care about each other, whatever. And then like right as he's getting ready to walk off out the door, like the little kid that they brought back to spice up the show, goes running after him and hugs him. I don't remember anything else about it. I just remember that was one of those shows that I used to watch all the time, and I watched the series finale. I was like, oh wow, that it was cool.
Right.
So it was a decent one. It wasn't like anything mind blowing.
Yeah.
It was just a family sitcom that ended nicely.
Right.
The
Big Bang Theory just had its finale, but I have fallen out of that show. Like I haven't watched that show in 5 years.
And there was a time when Heather and I would watch it on a regular basis.
We used to love. I used to love that show.
And again, we fell out of it too. But it is one of those where we said we were just far enough out of it to go back to what I said before. Go back to season 1 and start and go. And we haven't done it yet because we've been watching so much shit.
So for us, and this is going to sound weird, and we're going to sound like these old sort of backwards people, but it's just innuendo-ish enough that it's hard to watch with our kids. It's not dirty. It's not explicit. It's just there's just enough innuendo that I don't want to have to explain that to my 7-year-old yet. So we would have to try to find a way to not to for them to not be around. And there's just other stuff we want to watch.
Yeah, like that's one of the ones like when Noah's having like his iPad time, I would tell him like, hey, check your headphones on so I can watch TV. And while he'll look up and he'll see Sheldon dressed as a Flash or whatever, and he'll be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
He doesn't really care. So because he's doing his own thing. He's playing video games or whatever. So we watch that way.
Yeah.
So I think we can still probably go back and watch the whole thing.
There's nothing visually like offensive on that show or anything.
No, I'll watch Penny all day.
Yeah. It's just like what they say. Coleman's at the age where he's like, oh, well, what does that mean? Like,
right. Yeah. So, yeah, it's one of those. I definitely want to go back and watch the entire thing, especially now that I know it's done.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we would have caught up with it. Like we caught up with Sons of Anarchy back when it was on. We watched the first.
That's a show I wish I would have gotten into. I hear that's a really good show.
It is, and it's also one of those like it put a firm ending on it, but at the same time you're also like, wow, really? Kind of like not many people agreed with how it ended, but I kind of got what they were doing, but
like
sort of kind of yeah.
When you end something that's been going on a long time that people really love, it's really hard to stick the landing because you're either gonna kill somebody that everybody likes and then they're gonna be pissed, or you're gonna do something that leaves it to their imagination and they will also be pissed. Yeah,
and Sons was one of those that they had no problem killing people you liked.
Yeah.
In the show, so it's definitely one I would say watch. Again, it's one of those, like, you'll have to, like, you and Gail watch it after the kids go to bed, watch an episode here or there, and just go through 6 seasons, maybe? I forget how many.
Yeah.
It's got quite a few seasons. Like, Heather and I watched season 1 through 4 on DVD and Blu-ray, and then we were caught up with the show, and we watched it for a while after that. It's good. I love that show.
Yeah.
I know they just came out with, or they were still getting ready to come out with, The Mayans, which is a spin-off of that. Right. It's another motorcycle group, which I was looking forward to. I haven't kept up on what's going on with it, so I don't know if it's actually out yet. I thought it came out, but I didn't keep up with it too much, so I'll have to look into that one again. So that was another one that was it was a concrete ending, but it was controversial. So we'll say that. Speaking of controversial, you got Game of Thrones. Again, because it's new, I don't know when this is going to drop, but since you haven't watched it and Eric's not here.
Eric wants to talk about it.
I know Eric wants to talk about it. Maybe he and I, sometime this week, he and I can get together and we'll do another side episode of just random bullshit. We can save it or whatever. Or we'll just drop me and you from earlier and then me and him later. Yeah. We'll drop, hey, maybe you guys can get 2 this week. Who knows? But, I'll just say that part about being hard to stick the landing. Well, when you kind of at least like faceplant onto the pad, I guess it's okay. I mean, you made it.
Something stuck.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. The part that stuck is kind of the bug hitting the windshield. I don't know, but like I said earlier, like I guess that's okay. I don't know. So yeah, there was a lot of people that were not happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't completely miserable with it, but I was really like, that's the direction you decided to go in,
right?
And that's all. I'll leave it, because again, it's subjective. Some people liked it.
None of those people are on social media.
I saw one.
None of the people who liked it are on social media.
This is great.
Everybody else has taken the meme of like someone about to slit someone's throat from behind. It's like me, HBO, me about to cancel my subscription.
Yeah, and that's pretty much, Oh, that was, I did see one meme was Seth Meyers on his talk show. He was like, well, tonight's season finale of Game of Thrones is, about ready to start, and everyone's taking bets on who's going to die. And then the second panel is, I got my money's on HBO. And I was like, that's so perfect. Because, how many people canceled the subscription right after that? How many were going to cancel it anyway? Just because that's the only reason they had it. Because I know damn well I had it, and I still have it, but I have the HBO Now or HBO Go, or whatever the hell it is. Right. My wife signed up for it, but I don't. There's not much on there that I watch, but I haven't really looked at it either. So I'll look at it and I'll see if there's anything good to watch. But I'm hoping. I don't know. Maybe that Watchmen series would be all right.
Yeah. By the way, have you read? I don't know if we talked about the letter that the director of the Watchmen series wrote. Did you see this letter? Like, he wrote a letter to fans. Like, I get it. You're going to be mad. Here's the thing. It's like...
When you have to write that before the shit even comes out?
It's like 4 pages long, but it's a really good letter. And it goes through...
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. It's really... Because he talks about how when he was a kid, his dad gave him a copy of the Watchmen comic.
Okay.
And what it meant to him. And then it sort of goes through his relationship with his dad, and it was kind of messed up, and the Watchmen is the thing they had in common. And he'd been approached a bunch of different times to make this thing. He's always said no. And then finally they told him he could do this, and he finally said yes, and blah, blah, blah. And so it's a long letter, but it's really good. But yes, the idea that you have to write a letter to
before
fans
your shit even comes out
about, hey, you're going to hate this, but let me tell you why I did it, and that I really love the source material, and this is my homage to it and love story to it, and don't hate me because I'm taking the characters you like and doing something different with it.
Right. Well, his letter kind of reminds me, your description of his letter kind of reminds me of the discussion we had about why I love Star Wars so much, because when my parents died, whatever, that's what I delved into. So all the books and shit. Yeah. So I get that, and again, I've seen the first trailer, and then I've seen half of another one that looked like it's confirming my suspicions that it's after the graphic novel, and at least the Rorschach, all the people in the Rorschach masks look like some type of cult.
Yeah, and
it also looks like there's multiple factions of different. So I'm wondering if they all picked a different hero or some shit like that, or something to that effect.
Yeah. Where
you'll have different groups that are against each other, which could be interesting. Again, not going to shit on it until I see a little bit more, But because it's just the beginning was like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
My favorite part of that was my reaction, and then when I showed it to you guys, because you looked at me like, if you guys recall. I played Eric and Paul the trailer because we were talking about whatever on HBO and what was coming after Game of Thrones, and I was like, oh, well, you guys saw the Watchmen trailer, right? And Paul was like, the movie from 2000? Yeah. I'm like, no, dude, look. And the two of them both, as soon as I shut it off, said, what the hell was that? I said, right, yeah, that's exactly what my reaction was. So all three of us had the same reaction. Yep. I have no idea what the hell I just watched. So it's one of those, but it wasn't a bad, what the hell did I just watch? It was just I'm thoroughly confused, and you've at least got me paying attention.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens from there. So, I hope the Watchmen is good. So going back to the series finale, do you have any more?
I've got one on the list. So I'm looking at a list of best and worst. And
I have one more.
This is on the list of worst, and I thought it was really good. I liked it. The end of Seinfeld.
I liked it too.
I did too, and I don't know why this is on the list of worst. And so this description from I don't know what this article is. Let me see. Oh, it's in USA Today. List of the best and worst series finales. This is the number 2 on worst, and it says Seinfeld. That's it. The decision to end the beloved sitcom about a group of New York misanthropes by putting them in jail for being bad Samaritans is now 20 years old, but age hasn't helped it. I thought that was awesome. Like
it was hilarious.
Yeah, because it really was fitting of it. Like they go through the whole show not really caring all that much for anybody. I mean, Jerry's got this string of relationships that have failed because she eats her peas wrong, or you know, her.
The entire show is about nothing, and it ends with the four of them in jail together.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
To
I
me,
thought it was really good.
Now, side note to Seinfeld, since you brought it up, did you see all the articles that apparently millennials are all offended by it?
Are offended by Seinfeld?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Because everything from the past offends us.
Oh, well, I suppose.
No. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Do not watch Blazing Saddles.
Oh yeah, don't do it.
Holy shit.
Seinfeld was an amazing show.
It was, yeah, but it's offensive.
Yeah.
Because it's not sensitive.
Wow.
So there you go. Yeah, they get offended by everything. Yeah. So, yeah, Seinfeld, I thought that was great. The last one I got, and we have to talk about it only because when we said something about series finales, I'm like, oh, that could be our second episode. I mentioned Alf, and you were like, oh yeah, did it have a movie or something? And I was like, well, yeah, but no. And I said, did you know anything about
I used to watch that show a lot, but I don't remember the series finale.
Okay. So, for those who don't know, I don't know who is listening to this who doesn't know who the fuck Alf is. Alf is, well, he was a puppet, but the show is he's an alien life form, a.k.a. Alf, who lands, he's from the planet Melmac. He lands on Earth, and this family finds him or whatever, and they hide him in their house, and it's all about them, okay? So it's a family sitcom about this alien living with these people.
And it's like perfect family, like mom, dad, older daughter, younger kid, younger boy.
The older daughter was cute.
Yeah. She's like a teenager, like like 14-ish, 15-ish, something like that. And the boy's like between 9 and 11, something like that.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
Alf is his buddy, right?
Yeah.
And oh my God. So now there are horror stories about this show too. I've read so much shit about this show. Yeah. Like apparently, and we're gonna get on an Alf tangent, and
Alf has a voice.
Come back to this.
Alf has a voice a little bit like Tony Danza.
Yeah, he's
like, "Hey, Willie."
Yeah, like, ah. Yeah. Oh, and he loves cats.
Yeah,
he loves to eat cats. So, which takes eating pussy to a whole nother level. You're welcome. So apparently, on this show, because Alf is, picture the Muppets, right, or Cookie Monster on Sesame Street, right, where it's just his upper body, arms, and a head, right, that are waving. He'll show up in the kitchen window, right, looking into the living room, talking, so you can't see the guy on the bottom, right. The horror stories that you hear is like the actors would complain that the creator, whoever the hell the creator was so into, like, Alf is the star of this show, and you have to treat Alf like he's really there, like he's really a person. And they had trenches built into that set so the Alf character could walk around, but the fucking human actors were like falling into the trenches and shit. They're like almost breaking ankles and shit, But the director was like, it's Alf's show, so fuck you, basically. Yeah. And you have to talk to the puppet like he's really there.
Right.
Oh my God. The articles that I've read about this show are fucking great. This is one of those, like, the crazy shit that people do to each other in order to make a show, like that kind of shit. So, yeah, so a couple of side notes just to be stupid about this show is you have, they call him Alf, right? Mind you, it's established that on Melmac, and he introduces himself too. His name is Gordon Shumway.
Yep.
Right? And this family says, no, fuck you, your name is Alf.
Yeah, they just keep calling him Alf, even though he tells them, I'm Gordon.
My name is Gordon Shumway.
Yeah.
Hey, Alf. And he finally just gives up and fucking answers to it, right? So he's constantly trying to eat their fucking cat Lucky. That never happens. I don't know if he ever successfully ate a cat on the show. I think that would be great. I would love to see them make that show now,
Right.
just to see him eat the fucking cat. The series finale.
There was going to be a reboot. I'm sorry. In August
Go ahead.
2018, Warner Brothers announced development of an Alpha reboot.
Oh.
However, the reboot was canceled in November of 2018.
Oh, you people suck. Make an Alpha reboot, please. I just want to see what you do with it, because there was a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Where, but that was them on Melmac. Had nothing to do with Earth.
Right.
It was just him and his buddies on Melmac doing whatever the fuck they do there. I didn't see him eat a cat there either, so whatever. That little plot hole just kept on going. So the series finale, I guess what happened was they didn't know they were getting canceled. So it leads up to, like, he gets a message from a couple of other Melmacians, and they're like going to come see him. So he goes out into the forest like E.T. to go meet them and to go home. I guess either he has a falling out with Willie and the Tanners or whatever. Wow, all these names are coming back to me. Holy shit. I may have seen a couple articles about this. Hey, Willie. So he... Oh my God. He leaves the house and he goes off into the woods like E.T. to go meet his cousins or whatever the hell is coming to pick him up, right? So they're looking for him. They're floating around out in space, whatever. And while he goes out into the woods, lights burst out, trucks come, the government's there. And the camera pans back, and that's Alf standing there. So now you've got like the full actor in the suit, in his little trench coat, standing in the woods with all these armed fucking military guys pointing guns at him.
Right.
And then it fades to black. And that's it. And then the show gets canceled.
Right.
Right? So, God, what year, does it say what year the show ended? Because I can tell you how old I was when this happened. Because I was a kid. And you waited and waited. Like, what the hell happened to Alf?
1990.
1990.
March 24th, 1990.
Okay, so I was just in my teens. I was 15.
I was 20.
So
I hadn't turned 20 yet. I was 19.
Okay, so now I understand why I totally forgot about that until later on. It was because like 2 months later, my mother had passed away. Alf kind of got out of my head for a little while. But there was a while there where you're like, oh, wow, Alf, what the fuck's going to happen with Alf? You know? And then the show gets canceled. And, okay, rightfully so in my point, but everybody else's point, eventually they just forget. Like, okay, Alf is just gone, whatever. They don't think about Alf for a while. Then NBC or whatever the network was that had it made a TV movie, and it's all about like, and I think it's only Willie Tanner. It's like nobody else is in it because they're like, fuck it, I'm not breaking an ankle again.
Right.
So they're like, nope, we're out, we're done. It's like one person from the show is trying to get Alf out of the detention block or whatever, and I forget how that ends too.
Right.
I mean, it's like it's in my head with like the Ewok movies.
Oh, that's funny.
Like I know it's there, but I forget exactly what happened. But finally, like they put some money together to like, well, you know, we kind of like fucked these kids up really emotionally, so let's at least try to
rescue them.
Yeah, put a bow on this. So I guess they go and they save Alf or whatever. But yeah, it's just funny.
The parts I remember about that show are right trying to eat the cat, and then. Not every episode, but maybe every other episode, they would show Alf walking from room to room, right? So you could see that it wasn't just always a puppet, but it was like a little person in a suit.
Yeah.
And that was always awkward. It was always super awkward. It never lasted very long. It was just like a couple seconds of him like going from the living room to the kitchen or something. Just to show, right, this thing kind of moves too. Yeah. No, he's got a body. Yeah. It was very awkward. But again, that was like one of those. I don't remember, like you said, I don't remember specific points of the show outside of, apparently it floods back. Like, I remember the daughter was hot because I was about the same age. And then I remember him trying to eat the cat constantly. Yeah. And then I remember their names now all of a sudden for no fucking reason. Yeah. Their names just popped in my head. And then I remember the season finale because that pops up a lot, like on different YouTube and articles and stuff that, like, because it's right in my wheelhouse and shit that I like to read. Right. That one will always pop up. Someone will be like, the 10 most effed up
season finales or whatever, and then they always go to Alf because like a whole bunch of kids had no idea what the fuck happened to this guy anymore. But it is one of those like I don't really ever remember anything else outside of his voice. His voice is stuck in my head.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I've had some friends that I can't remember what they sound like, but I sure as fuck remember what Alf sounds like.
It was a bad Tony. It was a bad Tony Danza imitation.
Yeah, and I can't do an Alf imitation, but it's just that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was close. All right, that was close.
But it's one of the. It's so weird to think back because this was, it started in '87, went 4 seasons, ended in 1990. That stuff could only be made then. Like you're not making Alf now. Like there's too much good stuff.
That's why they canceled it. Yeah.
And the idea that this creature is going to come down and just live with a normal family and everything's fine and no one thinks this is weird. Mm-hmm. The kids aren't like, Mom, Dad, this is messed up. Like we can't have an alien life form here in our house that, right? Like you're just, oh, okay. Well, I guess he's just part of the family now, kids. Here's what we're doing.
Right, yeah. And they just tolerated him.
Yeah.
They're constantly trying to eat the cat. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and I don't, because he
apparently he's Chinese.
He did.
I love house fried rice, by the way. I'm just saying. Whoops.
Oh man.
All right. Every show I gotta have one that's gonna
so
get
not getting
down.
sponsored. We're so not getting sponsored.
Here's my one.
And he didn't the character didn't really move because it was a puppet. So I don't remember like the antics that Alf got into. Like I don't remember what every episode could have been about.
No.
Over the course of 4 seasons, how are we doing this thing with this puppet in the living room? And we're still doing this.
4 fucking seasons.
Yeah, we're doing 22 episodes a season over 3 full ones, and at some point in the 4th.
Yeah, so that makes sense because it was right in. I was 11 until 15, so yeah, that makes sense. Right in that wheelhouse of those jokes that he was making. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck.
How are we doing this? How are we doing 30 minutes of TV about an alien in our house that's not scary, who can't go outside, and we don't introduce him to anybody else. So
yeah, what
are we doing here?
I have no idea. I vaguely remember them trying to hide him once in a while. And that was about it.
I'm gonna have to find one of these on YouTube or something. And watch and just what was this about again? Like, how do we do this?
Then we're gonna get depressed about why we wasted our time for 4 fucking years. We're gonna be drinking more. It's gonna be great. All right, so that has been series finales. All right, so we want to talk about.
How long have we got?
We went 42 minutes on that one.
Huh.
Damn. You want to keep going for a little bit?
Why don't we stop it since we're at 42-ish minutes? We're going to do the video game conversation when Eric gets back.
All right, sounds good. All right, yeah, so, that has been series finales. I can't think of anything else to talk about on that one, so that's a good show.
Yeah. Tell us your favorite. Tell us your, write us at whatifgeeks@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Tell us what you liked as series finales, what worked, what didn't work. Best and worst, and your WTFs.
Yeah, that'll be good. All right, hit us up. Let us know what else you want to talk about. We'll be here. All right. Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Mom.
Bye.